It just so happens that the wording of the First Amendment to the United States Constitution stands in contrast to the words of the Torah. Hi, this is Barry Phillips, a 10-minute tour, day 3 of Acharei Mot, after the death, Kedoshim, set apart ones. And we are in Leviticus, Vayikra, chapter number 17. Let's begin reading with verse 1, and it says, And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to Aaron and to his sons, to all the children of Israel. Say to them, This is the word which Yahweh has commanded, saying, Any man from the house of Israel who slays a bull or a lamb or a goat in the camp, or who slays it outside the camp, and does not bring it to the door of the tent of appointment to bring an offering to Yahweh before the dwelling place of Yahweh, blood guilt is reckoned to that man. He has shed blood, and that man should be cut off from among his people. In order that the children of Israel bring their slaughterings which they slaughter in the open field. And they shall bring them to Yahweh at the door of the tent of appointment to the priest, and slaughter them as slaughterings of peace offerings to Yahweh. So, what is it that Yah is actually concerned about? The U.S. Constitution includes the First Amendment, and it prohibits Congress from establishing a religion, an official state religion. It also prohibits Congress from restricting the free exercise of religion. So here in the U.S., one may worship, as they would say, God as they see him and as they perceive his desire is for them to offer such practice. It also allows people to worship anything and everything they can think of, from inanimate objects to wildlife to nature itself, even the devil himself. You can worship whatever that might be. Yah is saying here that the practice that has been acceptable up to this point, which included the understanding that normally, not always, but normally the eldest son of a family would act as high priest of the family or priestly representative, presiding over whatever offerings that they offered at whatever altar they might construct. The patriarchs, especially Abraham, whenever he relocated, he would build an altar, and there he would present worship to the Most High. Jerusalem was not established. The tabernacle was not constructed. The Levites were not chosen. And so there was a previous understanding of personal worship to Yah. Where there are multiple altars, can you imagine several million people all wanting to worship? There is no central edifice or center of worship and focus. No set of protocols have been prescribed. And so they're taking from their flocks, their herds, maybe not even the best that they have to offer, going out into whatever open fields or wilderness settings are available, constructing some sort of heap of stones and slaughtering an animal in order to bow and to worship Yah. It would be chaotic, and it would be an infringement of order, of any sense of timing. What if the cloud were to pick up and begin to move while they're in that process? Does Yah want me to finish my offering, or just leave it here and run catch up with my tribe? Exactly what do we do here? Yah puts everything into a single package. There is one altar, one priesthood, one high priest, one set of protocols, and everyone is prescribed to function in the exact same manner. Yah is no longer permitting backyard barbecue style altars and freelance approaching of him. He is saying, this is the way that I want to be worshiped. And I'm asking you, commanding you even, to follow my protocols according to my pleasure and not your own. Now, where there are multiple altars, then we ought not only have freelance style worship, which may or may not be acceptable to Yah. After all, he says, do not worship me the way that the nations, the Goyim, worship their gods. Don't adopt their practices. This is the way I want you to worship. Where there is private altars, personal altars, then you have a private priest. That priest may preach a doctrine from that altar that may not be legitimate, because they're going to glorify whatever approaching of Yah that they have deemed to be proper, and whatever revelations that they see and whatever offerings are being offered. And not only that, then, where there are multiple altars with varying priests serving and preaching and proclaiming and prophesying from this altar area, then you have those that would rise up and contend or compete against those altars. Come over to my altar, it's bigger. Well, come over to my altar, the stones are more ancient. They're more refined. Well, come over to my altar, we have the better light show on our altar. We use more fragrant wood. We have a better choir. We have a better parking facility. If you catch my drift, denominationalism in all of its expressions, not just within the church system, but it spills over into a varying amount of approaches and types and shadows that we all attend and are part of. And we like to present our best self to him. In that day, when the temple is constructed, Yah will still hear our songs when we sing them in foreign lands. Yah will still enable us to proclaim his word. But if we are to approach him with Levitical protocols, we must then go to Jerusalem and bring our funds with us that we have accumulated from selling our very, very best, whatever we have. And there we will purchase with those funds the very best that we can afford. And we will go through the Levitical protocols and we will present that to the altar, and there we will worship him. Jerusalem will by necessity then become the center of the earth. Right now, a lot of eyes are on Washington, D.C. with some political upheavals and contests and the ways it's affecting other governments and so on. And, that's politics. That's the way that works. Some eyes are on the Vatican waiting to see what color smoke is going to go into the air. And so the world is kind of looking around. Where is the power center? Where is the epicenter of glory in the earth? It's still Jerusalem. It's still that plot of land upon the plateau in the center or to the parts of Jerusalem. And you can pray at the wall. You can go up onto the Temple Mount and you can prostrate yourself on the ground. Hallelujah. Things are changing. And make no mistake, if I can get this out. Isaiah chapter 2 says that in that day, one man will say to the next man, come and let us go to Mount Sion. For the word of Yah is coming forth there. Jerusalem will be the center of the earth. Are we so attached to, addicted to, enamored by, familiar with what we prefer and the way it's done where we're at, that if Yah says you can no longer practice that way, you must come to Jerusalem now, are we going to get upset? Are we going to claim the First Amendment to the Constitution that we have free exercise of religion? Will Yah even consider that? I don't think so. And I hope to see you again tomorrow. Consider these things. To then, shalom.